I'm Amrita Rajpal. I'm an early years specialist. I've been teaching for 22 years, but I've been learning my whole life. And that's why I have a company named Edu Learn Grow. I'm passionate about creating learning environments that are engaging, meaningful, and fun for children. I'm also a sports nutritionist, an avid traveler, an active Rotarian. I'm the territory head for the Early Childhood Association Mumbai. I'm the founder of EduLearn Grow and the co-founder of the ABCD show.
Hi, I'm Bela Kutwani, also known as Big B. Big for the size of my heart and B for Bela. A fun loving person with a great sense of humor and a passionate pickleball player. National Core Committee member of Early Childhood Association, founder and principal Cosmic Kids International, co-founder Puppet Maestros and the ABCD show, an educationist and a puppeteer who helps teachers to make learning fun for children by using puppets as a tool for teaching. My vision is to help parents and teachers raise emotionally intelligent children.
Welcome to season 2 of the ABCD show. First of all, we'd like to thank all our viewers for viewing our show, for being so committed to your own learning, and for showing us all your love. We are all geared up to get you the best educators to enhance your skills and to take your knowledge to new heights.
We have some really exciting basket of offerings. We have our ABCD shows where we will call experts to talk about their best practices. We will introduce you to some really value for money and effective products and services. And we have some incredible courses that will help you gain mastery in the subject.
Season 2 has a different format. We will have Ask Amrita and Bela on alternate Wednesdays, where you will ask us your questions on child development and we will revert. And on the other 2 Wednesdays, we will have ABCD shows with speakers or we'll showcase new products or new ideas and innovations.
So, parents and teachers, email us your questions on topics relating to early childhood development, education, and rearing on the ABCD Show 6 at gmail.com. And we will be back with the answers on Facebook Live. Waiting to see you soon.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ABCD show. And now I'm very, very excited to introduce our speaker for the day, speaking on a very, very interesting topic, Smriti Agarwal. So let me introduce Smriti for the ones who don't know her. Smriti is a passionate early years educator, and she's been an educator since the year 1995. She's also been associated with the best schools in India in a leadership role. Writing is her first love. She has even won an award for writing, and the topic was The School of My Dreams. Yogita, you have to listen and see that. You have to read that because you're going to be starting your school of your dreams. So Smriti has contributed numerous articles for educational magazines, stories for anthologies, and value-added content for early childhood education. She's an active leader, she's a mentor, she's a speaker, she's a panelist. She believes in knowledge sharing, collaborating, innovating, and reinventing the best practices in the early childhood space. And that's why she's here on our show. She was recently honored with the Pinnacle Award by ECDF, and the category was Innovations in Early Learning and Child Development. Her current designation is Assistant General Manager, Pre-Primary Content of the Ampersand Group. So welcome, Smriti. Thank you so much for being here on our show.
Hi, Amrita. Hi, Bela. It's a pleasure being on the ABCD show. Thank
Welcome,
you so much.
welcome, and we all are really looking forward to hearing you now, Smriti. Yes, welcome to the ABCD show
For
tonight.
sure. So all the lovely things that Amrita has just said about me, I have to live up to that now. So basically, a passionate
Yes,
educator who has been who has been following her heart, yeah, since 1995. Started off like being an assistant kindergarten teacher, but now I'm here with you people. So the only thing that I do is follow my heart, and that is the topic also for today. When we talk about 21st century skills, we are in a dilemma, and we feel that there are those big life skills that children must know, and then how do we actually inculcate those in them, and how do we incorporate them? But it's so simple. It's a really easy task when you put those life skills in your everyday daily life. And that is what we're going to discuss today. That
right.
play is actually the base for all learning, especially in the early years. And why only in the early years? I would say that you all should play like Bela. Like Bela
Right.
is a national champion. She's playing.
Yes.
Yes.
She
Age is
is
never a number.
playing
Never look at the
and
age. Play at any age.
play at any age. Yeah, of course. I still
Yes.
play. And I play with kids and I learn from them because they can come up with things which we can never even think about. So that's how skilled they are. It's the only thing that
Right.
we think that academics and play are separate. So
True.
In
there we
fact, play
go.
teaches
So
even
that's the
discipline,
topic.
you
So
know.
let's start with the most obvious question. Please tell us about 21st century skills. So what are these skills which are the 21st century
All
skills?
right. So what are these skills that everybody is talking about? So
Yes.
Yes.
basically these skills have three components. So one are some kind of one component are the learning skills that we are all interested in, academic learning skills. Those are the foundation literacies. And then nowadays it also for the 22nd century, it also includes IMT. We'll get into that with my presentation. Then the second one is the core competencies that the child must be having. So those are the 4 C's. And after that comes the life skills, which are also a part of the 21st century skills. And those summarized can be into an abbreviation called FLIPS, FLIPS. And there's more to it. So when we have to know all of these together, all these three components together, so that makes so many skills into the 21st century life skills. And now today we
And
are
do you think all of them are important to get?
all of them are important, very important.
Or you can do only one of them?
I wish we could, but they're all interrelated. And they are so
Great.
important for the children to know now because what is happening is that we are dealing with 21st century children, but they need to be ready for the 22nd and the 23rd century. So, it's not like that. The world is changing so fast, things are moving very fast. So these are the things that these skills are the ones which when the children have it in them, imbibe it right from the early years, it becomes a part of their personality.
But I like your topic is how is play going to be related to this 21st century skills? So maybe if you can throw some highlight on that,
Yeah.
that will be very interesting.
Yeah, so those are the things that we are going to talk about today. So everybody, seatbelts on, and we are going to go in. I will just dive into my
Get ready.
presentation and requesting everyone on Zoom and on Facebook, please make it interactive. Please keep putting in your comments and your questions. And Amrita and Bela, I'm very, very sure that they would be glad to share it with me. And if we can, all the three of us to put together can answer them for you, we would be very happy. So please, if I ask you something and if, in between you have to answer and in between you have to ask something, don't please wait till the end of the presentation. Okay. It's not any kind of a lecture. It's going to have a very interactive session.
That's nice. Looking forward to that.
Right.
Yes, we are waiting now.
So let me just share my screen with all of you. I just hope it's visible.
Yes, it is.
Yes, we can see
Can
it.
you make it full screen, Smriti, please?
Yeah, I'm going to do that. Better?
Perfect.
Perfect.
All right. So 21st century skills are interrelated to play is what I am saying. How they are interrelated is a topic for today. And this is to answer Amrita's first question of what are 21st century skills, basically. So this is what they are. They are learning skills, which comprises of the 4 C's, and they teach the children how to address complex challenges in life. Their literacy skills, that is applying their core skills and learning to everyday tasks. So whatever they're learning, if they're not applying them to their everyday life, it makes no sense. And that is what we have been advocating since a very long time. When we go against rote learning, when we go against textbook knowledge, this is what we are actually talking about. That if all the learnings cannot be applied into an everyday life of the child, it makes no sense. And the third component, the life skills, are their approach for our to an ever-changing environment, your adaptability skills, or how do you approach a change in life? How did we adapt right now due to pandemic? We all went digital, and in early years, that was something that we could not even think of. Imagine, can we have ever imagined that a nursery child would be studying through screen and school would be online? But then we adapted, and we adapted so fast and so beautifully that it was mind blowing how teachers adapted themselves. So those are the life skills now that we have to actually incorporate in an everyday situation with children so that they can adapt, because we really do not know what's there in it for them for tomorrow. So what's happening tomorrow, we really do not know. So this is how it is. These are the 21st century skills. Now, when we go to how they are interrelated to play, so there would be some things that you have to ponder on. And let's just see that. So the 4 C's that we were just looking at are communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. And these are the 4 learning skills which gives you your approach to address any kind of a challenge in life. And the picture that you see here, can you just tell me what C's can we see here? If you can have it in the chat box.
Collaboration.
Collaboration can be seen, right?
I'm sure they must be communicating also.
I'm sure.
I think all are happening.
Creativity is
Yeah.
also there, definitely.
Right.
Yes.
And what are they doing? And what are the children doing basically?
They are playing.
They are playing, yes. So are you thinking? So those are the learning C's, the 4 complex C's that you talk about: communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity, is summarized into one picture here, where they're collaborating amongst themselves, they're communicating, and they're creating something from those blocks and toys, putting them together in a way that you or I would not have imagined, and they would
Right.
create something wonderful out of it. So what we see here is that yes, communication is happening, collaboration is happening, and creativity is at its peak. So we really do not need a full-fledged 1-hour lesson for them to teach them all these skills. Here it is that they are learning. Now, one more thing for the entire presentation is that children are not interacting with other children these days because of the obvious reasons and the kind of environment that we are in. So for every 1 or 2 child that you see here, 1 or 2 can be yours. If you have 3, very good. But if you have 1 or 2, then you will have to substitute the others by yourself. So it has to be the mother or the father or the grandparents or somebody from the family collaborating and communicating with them. So please give the children an opportunity at your home environment to communicate, to express themselves, and to collaborate with you first. Let's have a collaboration within the family. Yeah?
True.
What do you think is happening here? Because 1 C was missed out. If you would have realized, that is if you're paying attention.
Critical thinking, na?
Yeah, Bela and Amrita are sharp, they're educators, no? So critical thinking. So do you think this picture can in anyhow summarize critical thinking?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it
I
can.
think they need to judge where they are going.
And think where to go and how to. Yeah.
And even how to go from one step to another, from one of that oak tree branches to another one, from one stump to another. How do I actually cross this path? This involves so much of critical thinking, And this can happen in a backyard. It can happen in a garden. You really do not need a school or a content or an educator to teach them this. Once they actually figure out how they're going to go from one side to the other side, it is all about critical thinking. So yes, we develop critical thinking when we take children outdoor and we give them space. We give them space to think and to reason out and actually come to a conclusion themselves of how do they address a task. Then we have to address all the tiger and helicopter moms of not doing it for them. So please
True.
don't you do every task for your child. Don't make it so easy for them, because actually you are not helping them. We think we are helping them, but actually we're not helping them, because we are certainly not giving them the skills that they would need later in life to solve their own problems, to think critically, and how to go about it. So please hold back, step back, and let them do their task but in their own manner. Give them the space for trial and error and see what happens. All 4 C's covered. Wasn't that quick? Then we come to life skills. See how easy it was. I told you it's very easy. There's nothing, no rocket science there. So here we come to the life skills, and FLIPS is something that is there. Flexibility and adaptability is the F. L is for leadership and responsibility. I is for initiative and self-direction. P is for productivity. And S is for social and cross-cultural interaction, which is so important these days. And the last 2 is something that is for curiosity, persistence, and there's one more missing there, that's resilience. So those are the life skills that are so important for children to step into the 21st and the 22nd century, because once they acquire all of this, they would be leaders in their own terms in whatever they're doing. So whatever profession or whatever field they choose to go to, they would require these life skills. They would need the skills to adapt themselves to the ever-changing environment, work environment, school environment, their friend circles, anything and everything. So all these life skills, when you see here, big words. So let's see how do we, how can we help the children acquire all of this through play? Question. So what do we see here? Just an ordinary everyday slide, yes? And this slide can actually teach you life skills. Are you kidding me? That would be, somebody would be thinking, just letting the children keep sliding all day long. Should we do that? No, you should not do that. But you should tell them that when you observe them doing this, you would know that how much of the life skills the child is acquiring and where do they need help. So if you see your child not waiting patiently for their turn to climb up the ladder to the slide, then you know where to help them. When you see that they are not actually waiting for one another, when they have to go from up to down and they slide down, are they feeling scared? Do they need help? All these observations are to be taken by the near and around adults to see where do they need help. So this slide, common everyday slide, can actually teach all of these to your children. That is the F, flexibility and adaptability, because they have to be flexible enough to actually let the other children go down the slide first. They have to adapt themselves to the kind of the way, the process of actually going back, standing in a line, then again coming, waiting for their turn, coming up the slide and going down again, teaches you life lessons. Initiative and self-direction, that you have to take that initiative, you have to direct yourself that how do I go about it. You've seen children who would be climbing up the slide and they would be standing and sliding down, and then parents get really, really wild. Oh my God, they hurt themselves. What are they doing? Why are they standing up there? And all of those. So those are self-direction that techniques that you have to tell the children that, how are they going to best approach a problem. They will have persistence. So the moment they come down, they again go up and wait in the line to come up climb the ladder and go down the slide again. So aren't we teaching all of this through a common everyday slide? And we used to do that a lot when we were free to play, when we used to go to the gardens to play. And mothers were not bothered about is it sanitized, do they have germs, there is mud on it, you dirty your clothes. All of this, when those were not a thought. So let's think about this. Any thoughts here from anyone? Bila and Amrit, if you can read out any of the chats which are coming in so we can, address them. Agreeable, not agreeable.
No questions as
There are
such.
no questions, but they are commenting on the thinking processes and self-observation.
They're involved, right? Oh, good.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
so
yes.
sorry I can't see your chats because, of course, it's a full screen presentation that I am doing. So, would love to see what they are all speaking about. But I would focus on that and let Amrita and Bela do the needful.
No, they are interesting. And
Correct. Social and cross-cultural interaction. Best way is to have a large group, a small group of children who are not only the kind of child or the kind of family that you belong to. That's the biggest mistake that we do. We define the friends for our children. We define what kind of children to play with, where to go, what kind of families to interact with. But what if they are getting a lot of enriching life lessons when they are interacting with different kind of cultures, with different languages, with different people from different regions who are speaking different languages, have different cultures, and when they are actually interacting with them, when there is a social communication with them. These days, it's easier. You can be at home and you can have a group. Like right now, we are hundreds of us connected on the webinar. Same way, have a Zoom meet with your children, with same age group of children from all over the world. And let's see what do they discuss and how do they interact and what do they do. Let your child learn about different cultures, different people, different regions, different languages, because you never know tomorrow where they might be. So this is
True.
how it's not only about foreign languages, it's also about our own country. It's such a diverse land with so many regions, cultures, languages. So have you ever interacted with your child, ever interacted with somebody who's from a different state? And currently, boons, the technology is a boon. We can have that. You can do that. Does your school have a chain of schools? Do you have branches all around the states? Can you ask your school to arrange a meeting with other centers and people can get together of the same class and talk about it? Yeah, my child is in nursery in a particular school, but they have schools in maybe Karnataka and maybe Uttar Pradesh and maybe Jammu and Kashmir. So let's get together on a Zoom meet. Why only my class children? Why only my center's children? Let's do that. Let's give that kind of a suggestion to the schools to do that. So that can be a
I think it's a
social
lovely idea.
Yeah.
Lovely
Others-
idea, Smriti. I love the idea.
Thank you so much, Bela. Thank you. So we are always, when we are stuck in our minds on a particular group, in a particular setup, in a particular region, with a particular kind of people, that is where we're restricting our children also. Let's not restrict them. So this is how they would form these interactions. And tomorrow they might be working in Singapore or the US or to Canada or the New Zealand or somewhere. How would they adapt themselves if they're not ready for it? So you're not giving them that exposure. Let's do that. What's happening here? Something that we missed from the life skills, now? From the flips.
Discovery.
I know. See? So we are having curiosity being addressed here. And along with that, there would be productivity. So once my curiosity as a child gets satisfied, if I can actually explore and discover on my own, I can be much more productive in whatever I do, whether it is academics, whether it is learning, it is playing, it is interacting, anything. My productivity will depend on how much of an exploration time am I getting. Am I getting the time and environment to explore, to discover, to satisfy my curiosity? Is there somebody who's answering my whys and not answering? Then let me find out why. So these are the things that you have to keep in mind. Very simple things. A thing that can be an everyday object for us might be a thing or an object of wonderment for the child. So even if, if an everyday object like vegetables, if you give to your children and try to find out how many seeds are there, do we peel them or not? Does it have a stem? Does it have a leaf? Everything for them is curiosity, experimenting, and finding out. So only
True.
request to all the teachers and the parents, and parents especially at home right now would be wondering how to keep them occupied. Do all of this. Give them those opportunities. And it was a simple thing that, I was teaching numeracy the other day, large and small objects, and, even counting. So this is just an anecdote out of context here, but life skills. So here there was a parent, and I told them, just keep 3 jars, which can fit into one another with lids, and just tell the child to remove all of them, keep them away. And now let's count how many jars plus how many lids. Let's see which is the biggest and which is the smaller than that and the smallest. So you're teaching them size. You're teaching them which lid which go with which box will fit under what box, and you would not believe it. That child, a 3-year-old, was actually occupied for good 40 minutes only figuring this out, and they could do it. And once done, it was a eureka moment. Oh my God, the excitement the child had to show that, yeah, I could do it, and see 40 minutes off your hand. Simple. So this is how you can actually engage them in an everyday life with play. Something is being addressed here. There was one left from Flips. L. L, what was L?
L.
What was L?
Leadership or what?
Yeah, leadership was L. And there was
Actually,
another thing along with it. Do we have somebody in the
leadership.
chat answering
All
that?
saying leadership over here.
Only leadership, you
they're
see?
saying.
Oh. See?
Yes.
Responsibility.
Responsibility. But that's not L, na?
But
Something
leadership
beginning
and
with L.
responsibility
Leadership
was L.
and responsibility.
Leadership
That way. Okay.
and
And I think
responsibility
both are
was
very
L.
connected also. Correct.
Okay.
And how
Yes,
There are a
connected
lot
they
of
are.
people who have answered this, so everyone's paying attention.
No, when there is leadership, it is always accompanied by responsibility. So when you're teaching your child to be a leader, to stand first, to come, to be more than an average, you have to do best, you have to do well. You also have to teach them that if you're becoming a leader, it always comes with a responsibility. So when you're teaching life skills, leadership would always come with responsibility. You can ask yourself as a teacher, as a leader, as an educator leader, or a leader in your office, if you're leading a team, you have a huge responsibility to cater to. So when you're teaching leadership to your children, it should come with responsibility. That is one of life skills in my Flips L, leadership and responsibility. And what does this picture show you? When we take the children outdoors, we are giving them the opportunity to be a leader. If you are only going, if such a group of children are not going, still if you tell your child, okay, lead the way, I'll follow you. You go ahead. But what we do just the opposite. We tell the child, follow us. So we are making them into followers. We don't tell them that we will follow you, you lead the way. And when we take them outdoors and we let them actually go look for things and be a leader in their own right, they also learn what is the responsibility behind it. So when they're not running, when you know that you are leading, then you have to take the responsibility of the person following you. So if you take a child to the mall and leave his hand or her hand and she runs away, then you have to tell her, how do I follow you, sweetheart? You're running away like that. You're leading me, no? So take that responsibility of taking me with you and see if the child understands. So when they go out, when they're playing, when your child and a parent is as a relationship has the opportunity where the child can lead, just see the difference. You would not have to teach them responsibility. They would know responsibility and you give them the opportunity for the same. So here they learn leadership and responsibility through playing. When they're playing, ask them to take the lead, but also tell them about the responsibility part. Don't just let them go haywire. Then you would say they're indisciplined, they don't listen to us. What do we do? No, tell them that it's their responsibility. Put the onus on the child. Slowly and steadily, they would obviously realize that along with freedom, along with leadership comes responsibility. You would save a lot of graying hair when they turn teenagers. I'm telling you.
I
If they
agree.
learn responsibility in early years, you would save a lot of gray hairs when they turn teenagers. Done. See, we come to the next skills. The next set of skills, the literacy skills. Now here comes the IMT. That is actually for the 22nd century mindset. The 21st century children should have a mindset which is attuned to the 22nd century, like we're talking these days. Why is it important? Because IMT would stand for information literacy, media literacy, and technology literacy, along with the foundation literacies. Now, foundation literacies, we were always really worried about, and we have been taking very good care of. That the child should be reading and writing well, they should be good in numeracy skills. So these are the foundation literacies. But are they enough for today's times and children? I don't think so. So then it would come that, they should be prepared with information literacy, media literacy, and technology literacy, which we were never prepared for. But we learned it. We are good learners. We learned how to use Zoom. We learned how to do a webinar. During the pandemic, we used a lot of technology and we had a lot of hitches. I still have to keep asking sometimes, my screen is not showing. How do I share? Am I audible? Am I on mute? All of this still goes on, but we are learning fast. So all these are there. Along with that now comes the core literacies, which are the financial literacy and the civic literacy. I would say, oh my God, my 3 or 4 years old child is not even learning how to read and write. Would they be learning all of this also? Also many literacies. I only thought they were literacy like numeracy and literacy reading and writing, which is what NEP is also talking about, which is my school talks about, my teachers talk about. And here we have on the ABCD show some Smriti Agarwal coming and telling us कि इतने सारे literacy skills. So please don't hate Amrita and Bella for calling me over and doing this to you. So, but actually, these are some things that children learn by default. You don't have to actually teach them all of this. They are already tech savvy. They already have a lot of information with them. The only thing that we have to teach them is where is this information coming from. And from media literacy, we have to tell them and guide them on what media is the best to gather these information from. What is age appropriate? What should they be doing with that iPad that you just bought them? So if you've given them tabs and iPads, I would not say that's a crime that you have committed. But you should always be telling them and monitoring them or guiding them so that they know for themselves that what should they be doing on that, what should be they doing with that gadget. So that should not only be for playing innumerable games which do not make any sense. Right? So let's see what all these literacies are all about. This is a classic example of parachute play. And this is where all your reading and writing and everything starts from. Writing specifically, because emergent writing, if you are talking about that the children are just learning to write, they're also just learning to use their fine motor skills and coordinate their index finger and their thumb, going from a palmar grip to pencil grip, going from pencil grip to holding a pencil correctly, and from a 3-sided crayon to a round crayon, from a 4-line sheet or a 3-line sheet to a 2-line in grade 1, all these. So here those muscles are being developed. Numeracy skills, how? Because they learn when you see that ball on the parachute, when they see the formations of up, down, go right, left, the positions, those are pre-numeric skills. So all the positions and all the kind of fingers and the muscles that we are exercising here are basically the first steps that you would know about, you would want to child to acquire for literacy and numeracy, both. So this is through play. Let me not deviate, huh? It's all through play. Here, I'm playing and I'm learning. I'm so happy. I'm using Play-Doh. I'm using blocks. but I'm learning the formation of letters. I'm learning what letters look like. Today, I might not know, there might be designs for me, there might be symbols for me. But if I do these kind of play activities, slowly I would know that these are what these are. And you tell me. But if you just tell me and I have not actually explored this, it would be very difficult for me to say, segregate and distinguish between one letter and the next. Because for me, they're all symbols. I'm just learning. So please, for literacy skills, first go into play. Let them play, let them know that these mean something, and then go on to your letters of the alphabet. And then much after that is the sounds and the phonological sounds and the phonics that we are obsessed with, then bending phonics, making them into words, the CVC words, are they reading or not? Will come. It will come with time. So, but first, please let them play, let them enjoy. See, how old is the child who's fishing for those little fishes?
The
20,
toddler.
I know, 20-month-old. And see the way the concentration and the focus with which he's fishing. And those fish can have numbers, or you can fish one and give you, and you can count with him that this is 1 and this is 2. The older ones, you can give them a 5-piece, 6-piece, 7-piece, 10-piece jigsaw puzzles. Let them see how many pieces are they putting together, what are their observation skills, how to put a picture together. All these play activities are doing what? They're actually building upon the foundation literacies of the child. So how many of you agree? Let's see on the chat if we are having some chats there.
Please
all
write
these-
A if you agree.
Yeah, please write A for if you agree for Amrita. If you don't agree, write B for Bela.
So everyone over here is saying A.
See, they love you, Amrita.
Yes.
Yes.
And me too.
Yeah, they love you more, Bela. That's why they're not saying no.
Yes. Ah, so sweet.
Okay. Information literacy. Huh? This is not information literacy. Most of many of you would be saying, this is not information literacy. What do you mean? Information is ICT, ICT in the classrooms. At home, there are laptops. This is not information literacy. But when you read the bullets, which are basically the components of information literacy, you would know how the first step would be play, and then they will go to information literacy. So these components are what make information literacy. That is, first, they have to identify the information. Do we do that as adults? Do we identify the information? Do we find what information we're looking for? Then do we think that evaluate, is that the correct information that we have got? No, we go to Google, we go to Wikipedia, and we just look for things. And whatever is there, we say, is the right thing. Oh my God. Somebody told me, yes, have kacha nimbu to lose weight, and I'm having it. Who told you? I searched on Google. So no evaluation there, right? Then after that, after evaluating only would you apply, no? But these steps of information literacies, I'm telling you, Amrita and Bela also, and all the people who are attending, you are sadly mistaken. We adults also don't have it. Even we are not literate when it comes to actually analyzing information. All the WhatsApp forwards, all the things that we just keep sharing mindlessly, we are not identifying the source. We are not acknowledging the source of information. We are not finding and evaluating whether that's the truth. And the same thing applies when it comes to children. Don't just keep stuffing them with information which we say that we are, teaching them. So all our lesson plans are about giving them information, giving them information. You have to identify what information, find their information for themselves. Let them evaluate. Now here, when you see this picture, it is all about this thing. They're identifying something. They're finding out the characteristics of something, an organism themselves. They will evaluate, they would apply this knowledge, right? So let them do these steps first. And see how joyfully they are doing it. And once in a play-based situation and in a play-based method, if you have children doing this, won't this form their habits? So when we say that they
True.
inculcate these values and this becomes a part of their personality, this is how they do it. Once you teach them the scientific way of thinking, they would be applying it to everything further on. And we would be sorted.
I think this will help them in all later stages also, no?
Every time, Amrita, yes, throughout life. Like I'm saying right now, because we were not given these opportunities, we do not do these, follow these steps. And you know, you're following your steps, everything in a pattern, in a process-based method. So we talk about coding and algorithms, but then we are forgetting the basic steps in education and in play.
True.
These things children should be actually exposed to early in life so that it becomes a part of their nature, that they would find out, they would evaluate, and they would identify, right? So this would be for knowledge and for their information literacy also. Coming to, from there, you come to media literacy and technology. Technology and media, like I told you, is not bad. But just see if it's age appropriate. Are you giving them the tab to enhance their knowledge? Are they searching and looking for some novel things? Is it answering their whys and their questions? Is it satisfying their curiosity? Things that they can't go out and find. So I want to see what a seahorse looks like. Let me look at it in this tab. It should be for that. They should understand that images and sounds there are created for media and they're not real, but then they are showing them the real world. But they are put there as information. So do they have, they know this or they do not know it? They would not know it when they're just playing games. Because that is like, I don't know, 20 screens per second, you know, the speed that it goes in. My eyes would not blink. I would just be glued to it. And this is giving me a high rush. And after that, everything else looks dull to me. So please be careful and mindful of media literacy and technology. Use it and use it appropriately. Tell them the features of ICT, the information and communication technology. That these things are for information gathering, they are for communication, and this technology is useful for the same. Don't just give it to them because the child is crying. So I'll not just hand over my mobile that, okay, don't cry, just play some games and this, don't disturb me. So this is an adult's perspective to giving a mobile or a gadget to the child. But let's change that. Let's change that aspect. Let them play and learn through information, learn through media, different mediums for that matter. So here they were learning through outdoors, here they're learning on tab, but this is all play-based. And this is all self-directed. So here nobody is telling me to do all of this, but I'm doing it and I'm learning it. So give them these kind of opportunities. Here we come to financial literacy. Yes, no.
Yes, totally.
Yes.
I know. So my child would, my 5-year-old would know, 4-year-old would know what is financial literacy. I still don't know. I don't know where to invest in, which SIP to go for, or is mutual fund safe or not. So we say, I don't have financial literacy. How would my child have it? So this financial literacy basically means that the children from the very beginning, if they are shown the money, the denomination, they're given an exposure to currency, told them that this is how you shop, this is how you get the change back, all your numeracy skills are happening here, your financial literacy is happening here. And even if it is play money or if it is real money, if you're giving them in bits and allowing them to do this, then what you can basically do is, alongside with this, keep a piggy bank for them. So tell them, okay, fine, you spent so much, and whatever you have saved from that, put it in your piggy bank. So that would give them a financial literacy, that there is some things to be spent on. Then there are some things which you save and you put it in your piggy bank for saving. So how beautifully you have done your financial literacy through play. That can be, and in a real life situation also. So if you have the bhaji wali coming to you, you can tell, when you are buying those vegetables, please ask your child also to be there with you. Let them also handle money. Let them also see. Acha, ye doodhi kitne ka hai? So let them also do that. So let's see how do they do it. Give them these real life opportunities. These are all
In
play
fact, I
for
just
them.
remember one incident, Smriti. In my school, we had
Yeah.
actually called the Babaji Wali to the school, and all the kids
Ah,
actually bought vegetables from her and took that in a
how
brown paper bag. We make them buy. Yeah, I
you
remember that
see
incident. It just felt like sharing right
exactly.
now.
So beautiful
Yeah,
it is. Those are all financial literacies,
yeah,
and how excited the children are doing that.
very
Something
excited.
I know, and something that we hate to do. It's a daily chore for us,
True.
but you give it to the child, and it's play for them. And see how beautifully they do it, and they're so excited doing it. So
So
lovely,
most
Bella.
importantly, they're learning that, everything is a means of exchange out
Yes,
here. And money is a means of exchange, and you do not get anything from just anywhere. So it's very important to learn it at this age.
yes. And once they learn it, they stop demanding also from you the kind of things that they do. Tell them how it is
Right.
coming. From where is it coming? How much do you have to shell out? These kind of literacies, when you talk about IMT and you talk about financial literacy or civic literacy, and when I'm talking about in the early years, the only purpose is to actually see that children have these ingrained in them as a part of their thinking process, as a part of their personality, rather than forcing it as a knowledge on them. It is not something that we are teaching all the time. So if you're going to be
True.
teaching, it's not becoming a part of me. It is an external thing. I'm not internalizing it. But if I'm doing it myself, if I'm giving these opportunities in everyday life to play, learn in my own pace, in my own space, and the way I would do it best, I'm internalizing the entire thing. And that is what is actually going to be longer lasting. It's going to last me a lifetime.
True.
Absolutely.
True.
In fact, even field trip is a very good idea, I would say.
Yeah,
We're taking our kids to Reliance Mall. They went with their own little money packets, mothers,
right.
for a small little purse mom had given
Uh,
them. And that's a picture one thing when we give them limit. The limit is so much, pick something in this much range. So they actually picked up for themselves. It was so cute, I felt.
I know, beautiful. Field trips, you are
Yeah.
always those, all your lessons coming into real life. So it's just like,
Yes.
so it's real life experiences being mixed with that. And that teaches them so much.
Very true.
I have heard children in
Hmm.
fifth standard, when you ask them where does money come from, and they say from the bank. They have no idea of this concept of earning at all. Very important.
Luckily, they didn't say money grows on trees.
I know.
Yeah.
I've heard that one, money grows on trees.
So this reminds me, there was this thing, there was this simple thing was, okay, I just read it sometime back. I don't remember I don't remember the source of information. It was just like a joke that, when you give an ice cream to your child or a cake or, anything you buy for them, take half of it away.
Hmm.
So they'll learn how to pay
Even
taxes
I've
later.
read this somewhere.
So they'll know how to pay.
Right.
That's, that's a
True.
good one.
Yeah. So you earned yourself a cone of ice cream, give half to me. That
Uh,
means you will learn how to pay taxes.
so sweet.
I know. So first you ask them to do a chore and you say you finish this properly, I'll give you an ice cream. And you give them an
Hmm.
ice cream, they've earned it. And then you take
Yes.
half away. And half of it
Yeah.
goes to the government.
Government.
No offenses. All our taxpayers are actually building up the nation, so we should do that.
Right.
Right. So these pictures are telling us about another literacy. Guesses. What can that be? There's one
Civic
left.
literacy.
Bindu says civic literacy.
Yes, it is. So once we know about our traffic rules, about how we walk on the street, about the kind of decorum that we should be maintaining on the roads, because we don't, and we really don't know how to. So once we learn those in the early years and it becomes a part of your system, when we
Right.
understand that cleanliness and hygiene are so important. Currently, pandemic has taught us to use sanitizers to keep
Right.
away. Earlier, we never used to do that. In fact, washing hands, I remember in my childhood, like that was ancient times I'm talking about. We used to have these Doordarshan channels talking about haath dho, those kind of jingles used to come. That, they have to teach people to wash hands. because
Hmm.
this is something that we were teaching them at that time. Imagine. And right now you have all these things of cleanliness and hygiene and personal grooming. So again, the child has to understand that it doesn't have to be only my room, my house, or
Right.
my school. It has to be the neighborhood. It has to be the largest
Oh,
part of the society, the city, the country. So once the children understand that, the civic literacy would set in when they become responsible citizens. Then they themselves would not throw a toffee wrapper or a chips packet outside. In fact, if they see somebody doing it, they would object to it.
right.
So they would be the ones who would tell them, please don't do this. So this is how it happens. So because I've seen this in the Western countries, anyone who's been there for a vacation or something can actually relate to it. You throw something in their country or something, their citizens would tell you, please don't do this. Don't litter.
Hmm.
There you dare not throw anything out of the bin, and you dare not cross the road without the zebra crossing and things like that. And
Right.
there would be other people telling you this also. So you yourself
Hmm.
know that there's a heavy fine and all, and you don't want to pay up in dollars and in pounds. That's a separate issue altogether. But then you will
Hmm.
also have their citizens actually telling you not to do this. And that has come because from childhood they're doing this. It's not come in overnight. It's not something that will come in me overnight. I'll not be able to learn this when I am in the 8th or the ninth standard, when the habits are already formed. So once you actually do this with them at an early age, thereon it is a way of life for me. So civic literacy, again, very, very importantly, children must be taught and should start in this manner as a play for them. Get them those little, you see in this picture, those little buckets, colorful ones, good little mops and things like that, and let's clean. I don't know why we have such a fixation of calling these things as bad and ugly work, cleaning or not giving a jhadu to our children and things like that. There's nothing shameful in that. They're all clean up. They're doing a good job. There I saw a Facebook post also some time back. There it was, I'll just share this thing with you. That there was a child who was accompanying his father on the beach, and there they saw a rat picker. So there was an old woman who was just picking up all the kachra from the beach here in Bombay itself. So the father showed that to the child, and showed the rat picker to the child and showed him that, देखा, पढ़ोगे नहीं ना, तो ये बनोगे. So she said, she is more educated, Papa, than us. She's cleaning. We are the one who's actually
Cleaning.
littering. So it is
Very
not
true.
about,
Very true.
yeah. So this is what a little child, turns around and tells
Hmm.
the father that she's more educated. She's doing a good job. She's cleaning. And we are the ones who are actually
Hmm.
littering. So you tell me who's more educated.
True.
So that's all about the civic literacy. So you please have to have the children actually going through all of these. So finally, what I would have to say is that we've lost play. And when we lose play, we lose the education. So play is the basis of all education, all the 21st century life skills, all your 22nd century mindset, everything can be taught through play. And here, when you were playing tug of war, or when we were playing the seven stones, Lagori and Pittu, and you call these,
Hmm.
we used to do that, and we used to learn through those. We knew how to put.
Those days of our
I know
lives.
it was best days of a life. Those games are just lost on these children these days. It's sad that the pandemic is here, but it will get over. Until that time, like I advised you in
Hmm.
the beginning, till that time, please be a substitute for your child for other children. But don't stop them from
Very
playing.
true.
Don't say कि क्या करें बाहर नहीं जा सकते, so children are sitting at home and not playing. Why are they not playing? You please be another child for them. For as much time as you get, I understand you have office and you have online working and you have household chores to look into, but whatever time you're getting, make it memorable, make it fruitful, make it quality time spending. This is called resilience and perseverance. Two very important things that the children should be learning, they would learn through play. Let them make their longest and tallest towers. Let it fall 100 times. Let them make it 100 times. Don't help them. Don't build their towers for them. Don't do their explorations for them. Give them that space, that time, and that mindset to do it on their own and do it well. All your focus, skill building, all your educational needs, all your life skills will be developed through play. And finally, this is my last slide, which are telling you about the types of play. You can take a screenshot if you want, you can take a picture, but these are the kinds of play. There's a separate topic altogether on play, of course, which we can do. That is called stages of play. That is age appropriately. There are 7 other stages of play, but these are types of play. And if you actually look into this, you would understand how they are helping with all the learning domains of your child, teaching them all the life skills and all the 21st century competencies that they should have. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Let children be, please.
Yes. Let the kids be.
Really lovely.
That's what
Let
I
the
would.
kids just be kids, let them play, let them discover, let them have fun. They're
And
learning the
very
best.
nice caption I heard is play is child's work.
Yes, Maria Montessori and
Yes.
Piaget.
Yes. So let them work. Let them play.
Yeah, exactly. You want them to work? Let them play. That's their work.
So if
Wonderful.
the
Anyone with
participants have any
questions?
questions, please put in the question answer box so we can look at it and answer them.
Yes, please.
I think
Whether you
Shruti,
can
you
go
did a
through the
fantastic
chat,
job.
Smriti.
You may not be getting much questions.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you were very comprehensive.
I
Yes.
think the play itself, it is something that everybody would comprehend and it was self-explanatory. I didn't have to do much.
I think Shruti, they're requesting you to show
Nikita
the
wants
last
to
slide
see your
again.
last slide.
The types of play?
Yeah, if you can.
Yeah, sure. One sec. I just went to the slide without sharing it.
No worries.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can take a screenshot if you all want.
Yes.
Yeah, so a bit of explanation on this. By the time you're taking a screenshot, free play is unstructured where the children play and they enjoy themselves. In all the plays, children enjoy themselves, but here it is like for them, it's child directed. Purposeful play is that you structure it like the way there were some of the slides which showed you how to structure their play to make it more purposeful, that the learning is happening from that. Dramatic and social dramatic play is role playing, pretend playing, symbolic playing, all the other plays. They have components, I've not put them here, but these are all the plays where the children would be socially interacting, communicating, dramatizing, learning, empathizing, being compassionate because they can understand other characters and other people. Then there's functional play, where you have the play with a particular function to it and how is it implementing in real life. There's cooperative play with other group of children. There's creative and fantasy play where you would see children would be taking an object and playing with it in their own creative manner, and there is all fantasies involved where the dinosaurs are coming in, your princess and superheroes are coming in. So those are all your creative and fantasy play. Self-directed play is something where you tell the children what to do and let them do it themselves, like that exploration, and they are children-led. Rules-based play are basically the board games and the caroms and everything where there are rules and the children play, but there are rules to be followed. If they can follow those rules, they would, of course, make better humans because they know how to be confined and still enjoy. Physical and active play, all outdoor plays are there. And constructive play, where they're constructing different things, whether it's been blocks or Legos or anything with out of a mud or Play-Doh, any kind of construction that they're doing are constructive play. So I hope everybody's got that.
Yes, very clear. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions? I don't see any more questions. I think we should call it a day, Amrita.
I think we
Do you have
should.
any question to ask,
Yeah.
Smriti?
Smriti. Very, very
Fantastic.
nice.
Thanks a lot, Amrita
Yes,
and
so
Bela. And I'm
thank
so
you,
happy with the
Smriti.
attendees being so participative. All a big round of applause to all the attendees for putting in so
Yes,
many
to all
happy
the
letters.
audience.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Clap for the audience and all the attendees. So we'll see you
And
soon.
special thank you to Smriti. Yes, thank you from ABCD. Lovely having you on our show. And you really explained everything so beautifully from actually all the literacies. How can play be, used for all these things? I think simply amazing. Hats
Thank
off
you
to
so
you for doing it such a beautiful
Thank you so much,
explanation.
Bela. Thank you
you.
so much.
And you
I
made it
actually
so
believe in this.
simple.
And it
You know,
comes from the
Smriti?
heart that yes, play can be the basis.
Yes, passionate teacher we
Yes.
can see.
Amrita, you were saying something.
I said you just made it so simple, you know. So it was something everyone can relate to, every teacher can relate to. So that was
Yes.
simply wonderful.
So yeah,
Well,
so it's all, it goes out to all the teachers and all the parents because you people have the most difficult task on hand of raising a child, and I had to make it simpler for you. So I don't want it to be complicated
Yes.
for you. I wanted it to be simpler and to be enjoyable for you. So enjoy these activities and these plays with your children. All the best. Bye bye.
bye-bye.
And little small message to the audience. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd be happy if you could do that. Thank you so much. And see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yes, and please do post in the thought leaders, the ABCD thought leaders. All of you are thought leaders. So please post over there. And please do tell us what topics you want Bela and me to speak on, because we have an Ask Bela and Amrita segment, which is coming up. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.